Thank you very much, Phil. Yes, we feel honored to be here. My name is Lubomira Gramcheva, and yes, I'm here with my colleagues who worked with me on that exciting project, Dr. Vesko Paskalev and Professor Angela Dali and Matthew Ogden. And yes, this was a pilot study that we did across 3 universities. We've even though it was a pilot study, we think we have interesting results to share. The work continues across more universities and with more students. Vesco, could you? Thank you. Since the advent of large language models and ChatGPT in particular, there have been a lot of scare stories about how good ChatGPT is at writing essays. And this, of course, raised well-founded concerns across academia that students will use it to cheat at their assessments. But all these claims about ChatGPT being good at writing essays, if you look at them, were actually made by experts in the field who were themselves testing ChatGPT to see what it can produce or cannot produce. And actually, there isn't really evidence beyond the anecdotal about how well students can perform at their assessments when they use ChatGPT. So this is what we wanted to study, and this was our main research question. By how much, if at all, can students improve their performance when using ChatGPT 3.5? And does the ChatGPT effect vary depending on the band in which the student scores without AI aid? And our initial hypothesis was that students who are not sufficiently prepared to pass an assessment will not perform drastically better when using ChatGPT. For better prepared students, the difference will be smaller or even negative. So that was our initial hypothesis. So let's go next slide, please. How did we go about answering this question? Well, we made experiments with students. Once they submitted their summative assessments, we asked them to resubmit answering the same questions, but this time using ChatGPT. And then we organized focus groups discussions with students where we invited them to share their experience and their reflections on using ChatGPT. And we made sure we work with a variety of students who are at different stages in their students' journey. So in Middlesex, these were second-year undergraduate students who, however, were not pursuing a law degree. They were from the business school. In Brunel, these were first-year undergraduate students, law students. And at Dundee, these were master students. And then we took their submissions, real assessments, ChatGPT aided assessments. We mixed them in one pot for each university. And then we gave these pots to external markers and we asked them to mark the assessments. And we asked them whether they could identify an assessment that has been written with the help of ChatGPT. Next slide, please, Pesco. So you can see on this slide the results from Middlesex University, where the students had to answer a problem question. Now, a problem question means that they were given a real-life scenario which they needed to analyze from a legal point of view, to identify the legal issue, to identify the relevant legal rules, and then resolve the legal problem. You could see very clearly from that table that ChatGPT failed miserably at answering the problem question. Both markers marked all ChatGPT submissions. Both markers failed all ChatGPT submissions. You can see that those students who were failed for their human written submissions didn't perform better when they were using ChatGPT. And those students who actually got quite good marks for their human written submissions, marks in the upper second band, performed drastically lower when they used ChatGPT. But a very clear tendency that students scored lower when they used ChatGPT. And you can also observe this from the results at the University of Dundee. Over to you, Angela.
Hi, everyone. So in this case, this was the master's level class at the University of Dundee, again in law. And this time, their form of assessment was an essay, a take-home essay, which when I gave it to them as the real assessment, they could research and look at materials. It was an open book assessment. So again, here, I mean, we see that the students in both their human written submissions and then the ChatGPT aided submission passed overall, but they definitely did much worse when they actually were asked to use ChatGPT, or explicitly asked to use ChatGPT, as we can see with all of these marks. So ChatGPT, or worse, or in one case the same, but it certainly didn't enhance the performance. Thanks.
Yep. And
sorry, next slide.
Yep. And with the exam, invigilated exam in Brunel, it appears a little bit like an outlier because students here, in this case, it actually seemed to have improved their submissions when they were allowed to use ChatGPT. It does not seem consistent with the other legs of the experiment. But the picture is actually more mixed, and if we look at exactly the components of this exam, which is one essay question and one problem question, then something interesting is discovered, can be seen, and it is that all the improvement that students make comes from the essay question. And with the problem question, the answers of the problem questions, they are just the same pattern like in with the other assessments at Middlesex or Dundee. So the reason we believe that the reason for this improvement in the essay question is that first, it is unlike the other assessments in the other institutions. This essay is really short. It is written within exam conditions and within 1 hour, and with no references or very deep analysis or detail or anything. And the question was on parliamentary sovereignty, which is fairly general topic that everyone in Britain knows. Well, maybe not everyone, but quite a lot of people in Britain know about what parliamentary sovereignty is. So it is not demanding and technical task that demands technical knowledge. Unlike the problem question, where you have to know the law, you have to know the rules, and you have to connect all this to the specific case scenario. These are three things which ChatGPT is not terribly good at, to put it mildly, while on the importance of parliamentary sovereignty, everyone, including ChatGPT, can say something. So roughly, with this explanation, it seems that these results are also consist in line with our other findings. And then the next question: how about humans? How still humans, our colleagues, perform in spotting AI use? Here the results are again decidedly mixed. Humans do not generally, it seems that humans do not do very well in spotting AI use. At least all the markers of the Middlesex and Brunel assessments, they only occasionally spotted AI use, and on some occasions thought that a real student submission was AI supported. And the outlier here are the assessments in Dundee and the markers who marked these, who were 100% correct. And we think that this difference is because of the nature of the assessment on one hand. This is the highest level assessment of all in our sample, where students have to write a research-based essay, 3,000 words, relying on the independent research, dig deep in detail, and ChatGPT is terrible at this. And on the other hand, the markers who are marking these essays, they reported that they are very experienced with ChatGPT. They use it in their own work and they integrate it in their pedagogy themselves, so they were very good. And the point to take home from this second thing, the observation, is probably that we are poor in marking, but we can learn. In spotting AI use, but we can learn. And over to you, Luba.
We're kind of running just over now, so if you could maybe
Yeah,
1 or
Vesco,
2
could
minutes.
you please
Thank
go
you.
straight to the last slide? Yeah,
Okay.
there were a lot of qualitative discussion here, but I'll skip it and just go right to the last slide. So what do we make out of all this? Student performance, if it improves at all, with ChatGPT, it improves only a little. And we think the effect is stronger for the weaker students, while for the students on the high end, ChatGPT actually has the opposite effect. And we think that this conclusion must be brought home to students, not just by explaining, look what study we did and what the results are. We think that we just need to make experiments with students in class. The ChatGPT effect decreases with problem questions and with more specific, targeted, demanding assessment tasks. And yes, AI use is widespread among students, but we think the panic is not warranted. And because current assessment methods can be made AI proofed. Now, although we very often think we're good at spotting AI, actually we're not that good. And we believe a lot of us will benefit from some training in this regard. So I'll stop here and thank you very much for bearing with us.
Thank you. That was a really, really interesting talk. I loved all of the stats. There's been lots of questions, and we are running slightly tight to time, but I think we've got time for 1 or 2 questions. So I was going to ask the first one, if that's okay. In fact, this isn't just my question. I've seen it asked in the chat as well. So apologies if you did put this in the Q&A as well. Do you think that when this kind of research was kind of conducted, that maybe AI has moved on in terms of how good it is compared with kind of then and now? Do you think the results would kind of still be the same now, or do you think it would be different? I'd just be interested to hear your thoughts on that one.
Yep.
Go ahead, Vesco.
Yep. I think, of course, this is more anecdotal, but judging on my own experience with ChatGPT, and I do use it from time to time, I don't think it has improved so drastically. Now, it provides links and it does not hallucinate so much, but I haven't seen any sign of it going any deeper in its knowledge, especially of legal things like knowing case law or knowing the literature. So when we ask, we need such knowledge in the answers, I don't think the new versions will be any better. Also, it is very poor in connecting to problem questions and specific context. It is, I think, something very fundamentally has to change so that it improves. Probably it will improve on this simple essay questions like what is parliamentary sovereignty. It may be much better in this, but it is kind of fairly simple and not complex, not a context-dependent task.
Thank you. And one more kind of question, if that's okay, and then we'll go to a break if that's all right. But it's I was also wondering, given kind of where we are now and we're kind of a bit further down the line, we've all kind of had a lot more time to use AI and get better at kind of how we interact with it and how we engage with it. Do you think that would also be the case with students as well, in that when the study was conducted? I don't know. I mean, had they had training in prompting? How kind of, if you kind of took that as a measure, were they kind of new to AI, or had they used it in before the study?
Well, shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so our impression from both looking at the prompt histories, because we also asked students to provide their prompt history, and after that in the interviews, our impression was that even back then, last year, when the experiments were conducted, they were very proficient. They knew what they're doing, and they were very clever in prompting. Luba had actually slides which we skipped over about the strategies, and they're very good in this. They know what they're doing. They know it better. It is just the limitations of ChatGPT that fail them, and it is not about the tactics. So again, maybe more students will deploy more tactics, because last year we had some students who said that it is the first time they're trying it. So maybe the use will be more widespread, but I don't think it is a matter of prompting, because we've seen very, very, very ingenious prompts already.
That's great. Thank you so much. That was a really interesting talk. And if it's okay, if you could share a link to maybe your slides, we can circulate them with the recording so people can see all of the slides, because we had to skip over a few there. So apologies on that one. But yeah, thank you. That was a really interesting talk and some really good research. So yeah, well done. It's a great project. So thank you.